Good morning, everybody, and a happy Wednesday morning to you. Oh, my God. All right. I have received all your messages. There's a lot of stuff in this video. A lot of it is stuff that you guys have put me on the trail of. So let's just jump in and cover it because this is good. Let's go. Let's start with Zara. She was seen attending the outsourcing Royal Windsor Cup final polo match and a carriage driving display by the British Driving Society at Guards Polo Club. Now, one other thing about Zara, there's some rumors going around that she's been asked to step up and do some more royal, events since Harry and Meghan are gone. I'm not sure if that's true. I think it's nice if she does. But if she does, isn't that giving her a half in, half out life? At the same time, though, she doesn't have a title, so it's complicated. I love her, though. You guys know I love her. And a big thank you to Remoulade Sauce, as usual, for showing us this gorgeous outfit she was wearing. Let's move on now to King Charles, who met with President Zelensky at Windsor Castle on Monday. They had an audience at that residence ahead of Zelensky meeting with Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer in London. So some pictures were taken of them chatting as they made their way through the castle, and then they went into the grand corridor. Well, I think it's almost funny because towards the end, they were standing there and they were standing in the sun, and the photographer was like, "Would you move forward, please? Take a few steps forward. Like, I can't get your picture." So, but the Ukrainian president announced on Monday on social media that he was going to be discussing with the partners, the UK, their defense, which must be the foundation of a much stronger collective security. And they're negotiating new and powerful steps to increase pressure on Russia to put an end to the strikes. Now, I find that interesting. Russia just fired 352 drones and 16 missiles at Ukraine overnight, killing 10 civilians minimum. Now, if Israel and Iran can come to a ceasefire, hopefully these two can come to a ceasefire as well. Personally, I think it would be nice if all wars everywhere were stopped with everybody. Like, enough with I feel like the world's on fire. You know what I mean? All right, let's keep going. All right, now let's talk about some of Diana's relatives. You have Eliza and Amelia Spencer. They are apparently doting aunts to their niece. Remember, one of the girls got married and has an almost 2-year-old daughter at this point. I believe that's Kitty. That's the mother. These 3 girls have an amazing gene pool, as you can see. They're absolutely gorgeous. Kitty and her husband live in, I can't even pronounce it. Their daughter's name is Athena. And the twins live 15 minutes away from each other in a place called Fulham. These 3 girls seem very nice, very grounded, down to earth. All right, let's move on. Now, moving on to the Duke of Edinburgh, he apparently was in Belfast. Now, they're claiming that Sophie was with him, but there's no pictures of Sophie. I think that's a mistake. Anyway, it was an award reception at Hillsborough Castle in Northern Ireland for the Duke of Edinburgh Awards. Just a reminder, to get your gold award, you have to complete volunteering, physical activity, skill development. You have to go on a 4-day expedition. There's all these requirements. So good for them. Congratulations. Let's move on to some other news. All right, here we go. We all know Tyler Perry has been accused and he's being sued for a certain kind of harassment and assault by fellow actor Derek Dixon. Now, of course, Perry's legal team has called it a scam and they're denying the allegations, which of course they would. But let's not forget that Harry and Meghan stayed in Mr. Perry's home after they fled the UK for their lives, right? He sent the 2 of them a note via their publicist prior to the wedding saying, "Listen, if you need anything, call me. Feel free to contact me." So then, they did. He flew them over on their jet. They hid at his house. He posted a birthday message to them on X in 2022. Then, of course, she was on the red carpet with Mr. Perry at the Hollywood Gala Awards that honored his work. But now all of this has come out, and Harry and Meghan have said nothing. And as typical for Meghan, she likes to surround herself with only certain people. Anything that's damaging to their brand is thrown away. So even though she may like using using this man's jet on a regular basis, they're not going to speak out or say anything pro or con because they don't want to be involved in this mess. That just shows you who your real friends are when you really need it. Total crickets from Harry and Meghan. Nothing. Not a peep. I gotta be honest though, let's be fair. It's not just Harry and Meghan who haven't said anything. Oprah hasn't said anything. Beyonce, who's supposed to be a really close friend of Tyler Perry's, hasn't said anything. Nobody is speaking. Nobody. So you have to wonder, now, are they keeping their silence because it's a reflection of Tyler's friendship with them? Or are they keeping their silence because they don't want to be involved in this mess? That's what I think is happening. It didn't take long, you guys know, to take these with a pinch of salt, but Crazy Days and Nights came out saying that one of the reasons that Meghan isn't speaking is because she wants to continue to use Tyler Perry's jet. I don't know what the point of that is. They have their own. Okay, let's move on now to Thomas Markle Sr., Meghan Markle's father. Do you guys remember hearing Harry say this on one of his many shows?
Of course, it's incredibly sad what happened. She had a father before this, and now she doesn't have a father. And I shouldered that, because if Meg wasn't with me, then her dad would still be her dad.
You know, I have to tell you, that statement from Harry really upsets me. Her father is still her father, and her father is still alive. She has a father. She's just chosen to ice him out and ignore the fabulous life that he gave her. So people are saying, why didn't Harry meet Thomas Markle? What's going on? Well, there's 3 reasons they're saying why this could happen. Number 1, because maybe she was ashamed of him, which is really an ugly thing to say. Number 2, she thought he'd done something. But let's be honest, when Prince Harry rang up Mr. Markle and asked if he could marry Meghan, he said, you can marry her as long as you never raise your hand against her. And he said, well, of course, we don't talk like that. So maybe he lives in a world where people have done that sort of thing. And people have said, you know what? I dispute that. I don't think that's the case. And the 3rd reason is she's worried that he might actually have warned Prince Harry, this is not what you're getting with this girl. I myself have my own reasons why I think Meghan never allowed Harry to meet Thomas Markle. There are some very specific reasons. Well, here's my thought process. You guys remember before they were married, Harry gave an interview and he said this.
It's complex as well. So, no, look, she's done an absolutely amazing job. Just getting in there, and it's the family that I suppose she's never had. Okay,
final seconds of your...
And of course, the family immediately clapped back and said, what are you talking about? She had a family. She had a great family, growing up. And then, of course, when Meghan sued and it all came out that while Thomas Markle was in the hospital, they were texting him and calling him, trying to get him to respond. They claimed that he didn't respond. Well, of course, he came out and said, I did respond, and he actually had the text messages to prove it. And then, of course, it came out in court that while poor Thomas Markle was laying in the hospital after having a heart attack, that Harry was sending him text messages that were so nasty, they couldn't even be read out in court. Instead, they had to be disseminated to people to read. That's how disgusting he treated Thomas Markle. So my opinion is she lied about her family, her upbringing, the whole thing. And had she brought the family to the wedding, they would have spilled the beans. Okay, let's move on again to Meghan selling her as ever stuff, because nothing is ever straightforward with her. There's always something dodgy going on. She is claiming that her products sold out quicker than before. But people have pointed out, if you look at the time the products went on sale, she supposedly sold out before they even went on sale. I don't believe things are going as well as she would like everybody to think they are. A big thank you to Royally Sage for pointing this out. It would appear that her traffic over 3 months on As Ever has dropped dramatically, decreased by over 68%. That's not good. And Meghan also claims that they had 10 times more stock than they did the first time around. But what does that mean? Because if she only had 100 units the first time, then she only has 1,000 the second time. You know what I mean? She never really gives any numbers. Please keep in mind that in the United States alone, there's over 340.1 million people. So if she's only got 2,000 things to sell, yeah, it might sell out. As for the actual products themselves, there is a YouTuber called Think Beautifully who somehow managed, I don't know how, but managed to get the metadata from the As Ever website. She was able to show that Meghan is buying this stuff and then increasing the price 3 times up for herself. So for instance, she found this, right? Like here is the tea on the right is the one that we're looking at. The metadata shows that the herbal peppermint tea comes from the Republic of Tea. Here is the exact same scenario with this tea. The lemon ginger came from the Republic of Tea. And interestingly enough, she also found that the flower sprinkles, even though they're not sold on their website, also came from the Republic of Tea. Now, this Republic of Tea has a website. It's absolutely fabulous. You can go there. They have, teas of every single kind in really nice packages. You get, much more for your money. But what I found interesting, and was also found by this Think Beautifully, was that they have Bridgerton tea and Downtown Abbey tea. So that tells you that this was probably set up by Netflix. So would I be surprised that she's buying her tea from the Republic of Tea and then repackaging it and selling it as ever? Would that surprise me? No, that wouldn't surprise me one little bit. If you really want some nice tea, go to the website Republic of Tea, and a big thank you to Think Beautifully for finding all that information. Good sleuthing. Now, to finish up this video, you guys remember this picture that was taken on the website? And I thought, wow, really bad. Well, Sussex Squad Retard Finder found this. Oh my God, I want your thoughts on this, like seriously. All right, don't forget to hit the like and the subscribe button and the bell after you leave your comments. Then go down into the description box where you'll find the links to my Twitter, Gettr, Rumble, a link to my father's book, which is up for sale on Amazon, a link to my Amazon wish list and a physical address, as well as a link to my second channel. For those of you who have donated to my coffee fund, thank you so much. And as always, you guys, have a great day.